Are the Spurs on sweep alert against the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals? Perhaps, but that's not entirely what this video is about. I just want to talk about the Spurs' journey in getting to the finals a little bit, touch on it a little bit, and compare it to my current journey on posting daily videos here on YouTube on the way to 100 videos. This video makes number 93. Fun fact, this is about the third or fourth time I'm recording it because I have been having some technical difficulties with my audio. But in any event, let's hop into what this video is about. So, currently, what's the current picture? The Spurs are currently down in the NBA Finals against the New York Knicks. They're down 0-2. And despite having home court advantage for the first two games, they were not able to pull off a win. Now, game two, the Knicks just barely squeaked by winning the game just by 1 point. But in any event, a win is a win. And now the Spurs are facing the Knicks, in New York at Madison Square Garden, and the cards seemed pretty stacked against them in being able to come back from being down 0-2, especially in the Knicks territory. Can it be done? I believe so. At least it would be great to see the Spurs win at least one game and not get swept after they fought long and hard to get to the finals. But it can be compared, honestly, to exactly what happened to the 76ers against the Knicks on the Eastern Conference. So, in just comparing those two, I did a previous video about this on, the 76ers versus the Celtics in that series. But the story seems eerily similar. Both the 76ers and the Spurs had to overcome the juggernaut standing in their way to move further along in the playoffs. For the 76ers, it was the Celtics, the team that had been standing in their way for decades and decades and decades from moving on, from advancing into the finals. And this postseason, they were able to do it. They were able to overcome the juggernaut standing in their way. And then they make it to the next round against the Knicks and totally get swept. It was like everything they had done, they fought so hard to get to where they were, and then nothing. Could the same thing be happening with the Spurs? I don't know. It may be a little bit too soon to tell, but the Spurs overcame their juggernaut, which was OKC. Now, OKC was definitely the team to beat in the playoffs, and the Spurs were able to do it, and, if nothing else, just that in and of itself is definitely, a key moment, a key takeaway for the Spurs, in that, considering they're such a young team, I think they're the youngest team in the NBA, if not one. If they're not the youngest, they're definitely one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and their lack of experience, I think, kind of gave them an edge throughout the season and in the postseason up until this point. But now I think their lack of experience is coming back to bite them. Now, I'm going to get around to my point here eventually. I say all of that to say, compared to the Knicks, whose team definitely has, as far as more experience in, playing, they just look, compared to the Knicks, they just look not ready, for that matchup, despite everything that they've been doing up until this point, preparing each game, each win throughout the season and in the postseason was the next step in their journey in preparation for the finals. But it appears that now that they've made it to the finals, they might not necessarily be ready for that matchup against the Knicks. And I want to compare that to my own journey with posting daily videos on YouTube on my road to getting to 100 videos. This video is number 93, and I kind of think of my posting each video daily the same way that, each game that the Spurs won is just one step closer to them getting to the finals. And for me, each video that I post not only is one step closer to reaching my goal of 100 videos, but ultimately continuing on to grow my channel, which is the goal. Ultimately, the goal is to grow my channel and everything that comes along with that. That's, building community, providing, valuable content for my viewers, and ultimately monetization. But the whole point of this is just to, if nothing else, let people know that they're not alone in their situations. For me, it's, burnout recovery, lifestyle design, the whole nine. And if I could just, if even if one person can relate, or can take something valuable away from my content, I'm satisfied with that, but definitely ultimately my goal is to definitely grow this channel into what I envision it can be. And although I'm making very slow progress, it's better than no progress. And although I can't see exactly when that goal will be reached for my channel, I'm still going to trust the process that I'm in, and that each video that I'm posting is preparing me for, the next level in my channel. And it's the same with the Spurs. Like, each game that they've won, in the postseason has been preparing them to get, to the finals. But are they ready? Right? It doesn't look like they are. But again, anything can happen in the series. And I say that with myself. Even though my channel isn't where I'd like it to be, right now, I'm still going to keep showing up, each day and posting and continuing to learn my craft, which is content creation and all the things that come along with it. And hopes that, my channel will begin to grow. And, some days it's tough. I'm not going to lie, especially posting daily especially when life starts lifing, or, you put a good amount of energy into a video and it gets, one view or no views, right? But you have to keep on, even though those moments are a lesson in and of itself, right? To maybe tweak something, try a different angle and keep going, right? So I just have to, again, trust that process, and hopefully the Spurs can come back at least with a win, at least one win, possibly more against the Knicks. I'm not rooting for either team. I just like a good underdog story. But even though both these teams were, forces to be reckoned with, hence the reason why they made it all the way to the finals, seems like the Spurs are a bit of an underdog in this matchup because, they're a young team. And the Knicks have just been so dominant throughout the series, throughout the regular season and postseason. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. But I would not be shocked or surprised if the Spurs end up getting swept in the series. But I'll be standing by in the wayside to see exactly what happens. And that is the message that I wanted to get out, just comparing my own journey to the Spurs journey. And that was just basically kind of a takeaway. It's just, even though you can be preparing for a really big moment, it doesn't necessarily mean you're ready for that moment. And I'm not saying that I'm not ready, but who knows? I might not be ready for that moment. And, I just have to trust that, the time will come. And when that time comes, that'll be my time. That's when I'll be, ready to receive it. Right. So we shall see. In any event, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and watching my video. And until the next time, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much again, and take care.